The rain had just stopped when Huyen stepped out to the small yard, her bare feet pressing against the damp soil. The sky was still heavy with clouds, the air thick with the scent of wet earth and pickled radish. She stood still for a long moment, eyes tracing the narrow dirt road that curved toward the riverbank. Every sound made her heart tremble. The cry of a distant rooster, the whimper of her dog Baby, even the rustle of the bamboo leaves behind the house. For the past few days, Huyen had barely slept. She knew D was on his way back, riding his old motorbike hundreds of kilometers through mountain passes and flooded roads. The thought alone made her heart ache with both joy and fear. Each night she whispered to Maya, "When Uncle D comes back, he'll bring home laughter again." Inside the small kitchen, the air was warm from the firewood stove. A pot of braised pork simmered quietly, filling the room with a sweet, familiar scent. Huyen stirred the pot slowly, lost in thought. Her hands were rough from working in the fields, yet the movement was gentle, as if she were cooking not just food, but love itself. "Mom," Maya's small voice echoed from the yard. "Uncle D is back." Huyen froze. Her heart jumped before she could think. She turned toward the open door, and there, standing in the distance, was D. His clothes were dusty, his hair messy from the long ride, but his eyes carried the warmth of home. The moment she saw him, Huyen felt tears burning her eyes. She didn't run. She just stood there, trembling, like someone who had waited so long that reality felt like a dream. D stopped a few steps away, smiling the gentle smile she remembered so well. "I'm home, Huyen," he said softly, "and this time, I'll never be far from you again." Maya squealed with joy and ran to him, her little arms wrapping tightly round his leg. "Uncle D, you came back just like you promised." D laughed, his voice cracking slightly. "I promised, didn't I?" Behind them, the afternoon sun broke through the clouds, casting golden light over the muddy path, the vegetable garden, and the humble house that had waited for him. It wasn't a miracle that brought D back. It was love. The quiet, stubborn, everyday kind of love that endures distance, storms, and time itself.
Huyen's voice trembled as she whispered, "You're home, D. You're really home." And for the first time in months, the small house by the river was filled with the simplest kind of happiness, the kind that needed no words, no riches, no promises, just the sight of the one you love, returning safely. As dusk settled, the little house glowed softly under the flicker of a single oil lamp. The rain had begun again, not harsh, but gentle, drumming a quiet rhythm on the tin roof. Inside, warmth returned to every corner. D sat cross-legged near the small wooden table, still wearing his travel-worn jacket. His hands, rough and cold from the long journey, were now busy helping Huyen slice radish for dinner. Maya sat beside them, humming softly as she played with the teddy bear they had brought her.
"You shouldn't be doing this," Huyen said, glancing at him with both affection and concern. "You just came back. You must be exhausted." D smiled, his voice calm and warm. "I've been eating at roadside stalls for weeks. Let me cook with you tonight. I've missed this. Missed home." The way he said home made Huyen pause. For so long, that word had meant survival, not comfort. But hearing it from him, in that quiet, sincere tone, filled her chest with something deep and steady, like the slow rise of morning light after a storm. The aroma of stir-fried pork and pickled radish filled the air. Maya's laughter blended with the crackle of the firewood. Outside, Bibi barked softly, as if sharing in their joy. Everything felt alive again. When dinner was ready, they sat close together on the bamboo mat. Huyen served D a bowl of rice, her hands trembling slightly. "Here," she said softly, Eat while it's still hot. Dee took it, smiling. It smells just like before. Do you remember the nights when we couldn't even afford fish? You still made everything taste good. Huyen laughed, her eyes glistening. Maybe because back then, we were hungry for more than food. He looked up, meeting her gaze. And now, she whispered, I'm just hungry for peace. For a moment, they said nothing. Only the sound of the rain and the steady ticking of the old clock. Maya broke the silence with her bright little voice. Mom, Uncle Dee's cooking tastes better than yours. Dee laughed out loud, and even Huyen couldn't help smiling through her tears. Then Uncle Dee will cook for you every day, he said, reaching out to tap Maya's nose gently. But only if your mom lets me stay. Huyen lowered her head, pretending to tidy the bowls. Her voice was barely a whisper. This house has been waiting for you. Outside, the rain grew heavier, but inside, everything felt safe. The small home filled with laughter, the scent of warm food, and the quiet promise of love reborn. It wasn't wealth or miracles that brought them this peace, only the kind of love that survives absence, hardship, and time. Dee reached for Huyen's hand beneath the table. From now on, he said gently, you'll never wait alone again. The morning sun rose gently, brushing golden light across the small garden behind the house. Dewdrops clung to the leaves, sparkling like tiny jewels. The air smelled fresh, of damp earth, young vegetables, and the faint smoke from last night's fire. Huyen was already awake. She stood by the water jars, rolling up her sleeves, ready to wash the radishes they would sell later at the market. The soft hum of her song filled the air, quiet but peaceful. Inside, Dee stirred awake. He blinked, adjusting to the soft morning light that streamed through the bamboo curtain. It had been months since he'd woken to such calm. The sound of a woman's gentle voice, the rustle of a child's footsteps, the smell of boiling rice. He stepped outside and saw Huyen crouched near the vegetable bed. Her hands were cold, wet, and red from washing, yet her face carried that familiar, patient smile. You should have woken me, he said, walking toward her. Let me help. She looked up, slightly startled but smiling. You came home so tired. I wanted you to rest a bit longer. Dee knelt beside her, dipping his hands into the water to help rinse the radishes. How can I rest when you're doing everything alone? Huyen laughed softly. I'm used to it. He shook his head. Not anymore. From the doorway, Maya appeared, her hair still messy from sleep, holding her little teddy bear. Mom, let me help water the vegetables. The bucket isn't heavy anymore. See? Huyen smiled warmly. You can sweep the yard first. When the bucket is lighter, you can help water, okay? Maya nodded eagerly, her small hands already gripping the broom almost as tall as her. The sight made Dee's heart swell. This was what he had longed for during every lonely night away. The sound of family, the rhythm of a home, the laughter that could melt away all fatigue. After they finished washing and cleaning, Dee went to check the motorbike. It stood proudly by the fence, still speckled with dried mud from the long journey north. Huyen watched him wipe it down carefully, smiling to herself. Do you ever regret coming back this way? She asked gently. He looked up, the sunlight catching in his tired but kind eyes. Not even for a second, he said. The road was long, but every kilometer brought me closer to you. Huyen turned away quickly, pretending to tidy the vegetables, but her eyes glistened. Just then, Maya ran over and tugged at Dee's hand. Uncle Dee, when the motorbike is clean, can you take me to school? Dee laughed. Of course. But first, we eat breakfast together. Inside the kitchen, the smell of rice porridge filled the room. Huyen served it in small bowls, the steam rising like soft morning clouds. As they sat together, Huyen and Maya, the world outside seemed to disappear. No luxury, no riches, just three people sharing one table, one quiet morning, and one deep happiness. In that simple moment, Huyen realized true peace wasn't something given by fate. It was something they built, day by day, hand in hand. That afternoon, the wind began to change. Clouds drifted in from the mountains, and the sound of thunder rolled faintly in the distance. Huyen sat by the window, mending one of Maya's dresses, while Dee was outside fixing the small fence near the garden. The peaceful rhythm of their new life continued until the sound of a motorcycle stopped at their gate. A man stepped down, holding a small brown envelope. "Is this the house of Mrs. Huyen?" he asked politely. Huyen nodded, slightly confused. "Yes, that's me." He handed her the envelope. "A letter for you, from the town office." "From the town office," she murmured, wiping her hands and carefully opening it. Inside was a folded piece of paper, an official notice. Her eyes widened as she read the words. It mentioned the name of her ex-mother-in-law, the woman who once caused her so much pain. The letter said she had returned to the area and had filed a complaint, claiming that Huyen had taken family property and left without permission. The world seemed to freeze. The air felt heavy. For a long moment, she couldn't speak. Dee came in, wiping sweat from his forehead. "What is it, Huyen?" She handed him the paper with trembling hands. She's back, and she's trying to cause trouble again." Dee's expression darkened as he read the letter. His jaw tightened, but his voice stayed calm. "Don't be afraid. You're not alone this time." Huyen looked at him, her eyes full of worry. "I don't want trouble, Dee. I just want Maya to live in peace." "I know," he said gently, taking her hands in his. "And she will. I'll make sure of it." Just then, Maya peeked from the doorway, sensing her mother's tension. "Mom, what's wrong?" Huyen forced a smile. "Nothing, sweetheart. Just grown-up things." Maya frowned. "Don't cry, Mom. Uncle Dee is here. He'll protect us." Her innocent words made both adults fall silent. Dee reached out and patted her head softly. "That's right, Maya. I'll always be here." Later that evening, the rain began to fall. The three of them sat together on the porch, watching droplets dance across the garden. The warm yellow light from their home spilled softly into the dark. Huyen leaned against the doorframe, her heart still heavy but steadied by Dee's quiet strength beside her. "Do you think we'll ever really be free from the past?" she asked quietly. Dee thought for a moment, then said, "Maybe not completely, but love gives us the courage to face it, not to run from it." She looked at him, her eyes softening. "You always say the right thing." He smiled faintly. "That's because you're the reason I believe in right things again." Outside, the storm grew stronger, but inside that small house, there was light, fragile yet unwavering, like hope itself. And for the first time in a long while, Huyen knew that whatever came next, she wouldn't face it alone. The next morning, the storm outside matched the tension in Huyen's heart. The rain poured relentlessly, drumming on the roof like thousands of tiny knocks. Dee woke early, preparing the small breakfast, sweet potato and tea, while Huyen sat in silence, still holding the letter. Then, through the curtain of rain, a shadow appeared at the gate. An umbrella, a familiar, sharp voice followed. Huyen, come out here. I know you're inside. It was her ex-mother-in-law. The same cold tone that once haunted her every night now echoed through the rain. Maya clung to her mother's leg. Mom, it's that lady again. Huyen's heart pounded. But before she could move, Dee placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. Stay here. I'll talk to her. He stepped out into the rain, his shirt quickly soaked through, but his voice calm and steady. Madam, please lower your voice. There's a child here. She glared at him, her eyes full of pride and anger. Who are you to speak to me? I came to take back what belongs to my family. That woman ran away with my son's belongings and shame. Dee took a slow breath. Madam, I know your pain. But Huyen took nothing. She left with her dignity. And that's something no one can steal. The old woman's face trembled with fury. You know nothing. From the doorway, Huyen's voice broke through, trembling, but firm. Enough. Mother, please. I didn't come here to fight. I just want peace for Maya. For a moment, the older woman fell silent. The rain softened, and the world seemed to hold its breath. Maya suddenly ran out, tears in her eyes, and shouted, Don't scare my mother anymore. Uncle D is here. He will protect us. Her small voice echoed in the wet air. It pierced even the hardest heart. The old woman froze, looking at the trembling child, at the man shielding them both, and at Huyen's exhausted eyes. Slowly, her expression changed, anger melting into something uncertain. Without another word, she turned, adjusted her umbrella, and walked away into the rain. When she was gone, Huyen collapsed into tears. Dee wrapped his arms around her gently. It's over now, he whispered. She can't hurt you anymore. Huyen pressed her face into his chest, her voice shaking. Thank you, Dee, for everything. He smiled softly, brushing the rain from her hair. You don't have to thank me. I didn't fight for you. I fought for our family. As the storm began to fade, sunlight broke through the clouds, painting the sky with pale gold. Maya ran into the garden, laughing as the rain stopped, and Huyen watched her with tears of relief. Dee stood beside her, holding her hand. You see, Huyen, he said gently, love isn't just about being together when it's easy. It's standing firm when the world tries to tear you apart. Huyen looked up at him, her heart full. Then I guess we've finally learned how to love. And there, under the soft morning light, the three of them stood together, no longer haunted by the past, but finally free to begin again.